Hey, this is Overpass Insights. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today, let's share some thoughts on older developers and younger developers. Alright, so I just spent the last 3 hours writing a stored procedure in SQL Server. And it was a lot of fun. I hadn't done it in a long time. And the reason I was writing it should have been me doing it. It should have been the developers I'm working with doing it, but they were really struggling with this. And we have a client that wanted everything done on Azure with SQL Server, which is fine. We've done that lots of times in the past. But they were also saying, we want some of this logic to be done in a stored procedure because it's going to change frequently. So we had a lot of business logic, and rather than put it into the code, why don't we do like a stored procedure which goes through and disseminates all the data once it goes into a holding table beforehand, which is standard stuff. I've done that in the past. You know, it's easier to update a stored procedure than it is to update code sometimes, especially if you're not having access to the server. We have all the permissions and everything. And while you shouldn't change stored procedures willy-nilly, you can kind of tweak them a little bit if you have to. So I was like, so I told the client, that's totally fine. Sure, we could do stored procedures. I told the developers, we could do stored procedures, right? And they said, yes. They said yes, but it was kind of like unsure yes. Okay, good. And they've been struggling with the logic of the stored procedure because most of the code has been in most of the database code has been done in code, so inserts into tables, maybe selecting out, doing update statements in the code. But I was like, no, I want all this to be done in one stored procedure. Just execute the stored procedure, whatever. And again, I was just struggling with it. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to show you guys how the experienced guy does it. Let me stand back and watch the magic happen. So I said, give me, all right, let me have a look at it. And I try not to look like I was like joyful inside. I try to look like I was like, all right, let me have a look at it and see if I can do this because, you guys should be doing this, but let me look at it. And then I was like, right, typing it away. And I just sent it off to them. And in my mind, they're looking at it going, wow, this is amazing how he was able to do that. But the reality is I started to realize I'm kind of the old developer, right? Stored procedures were my bread and butter back in the day. I used to use it every single day working in an investment bank, and everybody had to know transact SQL really well. And this was a good stored procedure, right? It had a cursor in it, with declaring variables, insert it into multiple tables, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think people use them as much as they used to, especially not people who come from the open source background like MySQL. Now this is an opinion, so you might disagree with me, but MySQL does have stored procedures, but they're not as widely used as they are in SQL Server. So a lot of the times I work with developers who don't know that logic. And there's other things too. I had one developer who was really good with MongoDB, but not with SQL. So a lot of times I was helping him out writing the queries because to me, SQL is something everybody should know, but not him. So anyway, going back to me being the old developer showing off. When I first started in software, and I was 25 when I got started, so I was a bit later than a lot of you guys probably were. I remember working at an investment bank and talking to people who would try to impress me with the technologies they used to work in before. So they might be in management now, but they say, back in my day we used to code in Pascal, and or back in my day one guy even said he used punch cards, right? Or they'll talk about some old technology they use just to try to show that they're hip with the kids and everything. And I remember thinking, dude, that's old. That's some old technology, right? And now that's what I'm doing. I'm going, stored procedures are the way to go. You should always use stored procedures, right? Even I think entity framework on .NET, I think even that's new, right? Once everything started going entity framework and ORMs, was ORM tools and everything like that, object relational mapping tools, stored procedures became less relevant for a lot of people, but for some of us, they're good all the time. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys. I'm getting to the point now where I'm the old developer, right? I'm clinging to those old technologies. I'm like, dude, man, I might get back into VB again. I might do a WAP a mobile website using WAP, which I know a lot of you guys are too young to know what that is. So my question to you guys, so when I look at younger developers, they're still learning, but they know a lot of the newer technologies, and they don't see the reason to learn the older stuff. The same way I didn't see a reason to learn Perl, for example, when I was doing ASP, and that was 20 years ago. Eesh. So what do you guys think? For those of you guys who are older developers, what do you think is a technology that you still rely on, but a lot of younger people don't use? Because me, it's SQL. I think a lot of younger developers they're not as SQL savvy. Not as SQL savvy as older developers, right? But that's just my opinion. What for older developers out there, what do you think are technologies that younger developers don't know as well? And for you younger developers, what do you think of the older developers? Do you think the same way I did when I started? Is like, dude, man, that guy is old, right? Anyway, just some thoughts today. I hope you guys are having a good day. That is it for today. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.